Hello and welcome to my channel Close to the Edge. My name is Pat, where we talk about all things prog rock, classic rock, heavy rock, and maybe now, a stick of rock. You never know. Anyway, welcome along everyone to my latest video. And I'm glad you enjoyed the 70s video and the final video I did with Kevin, Mick and Dermot, and the last video I done in the 60s with Glenn Kellaway from The Basement. I hope you enjoyed them. Now, I'd always planned to do a 1980s series, and that's what I'm doing today. This is 1980. 10 must-have albums that's in my collection. Obviously, they're going to be different than what's in your collection, and that's a fact. But 10 here, and I have a couple of honourable mentions. I might have forgotten one or two. Who knows? When I go back through it again. But anyway, let's kick it off. And I'm doing these the way they came out in 1980. And 1980 is the 80s are kind of special for me in many respects. Because this is when late 70s, very late 70s, I would have bought a lot of albums when they came out, or a couple of weeks after when I had the money, you know yourself. Or I might have missed one or two, but mostly I bought them when they actually came out. Now the first one is the brilliant album. First album of the 1980s by Rush. When was the release? January the 14th, 1980. This is an absolutely amazing album. Came after the brilliant Hemispheres. Different than Hemispheres. Now you have Spirit of the Radio on it, which is kind of more commercial. More radio friendly, as they say. Whatever the fuck that means. Of course you have Free Will on this, which is amazing. And the creme de la creme on this is Natural Science, the last track on side 2 on the LP. This is used to have the LP. I didn't buy this when it came out, actually. I think Kevin might have bought it when it came out. I bought it maybe a bit later and it blew me away. And that's the very first album, 1980. It's number 10. Now, 4 days later, Wishbone Ash released this absolutely stunning album, Just Testing. And this was the last album with Martin Turner on it. And to me, Martin Turner was and always will be Wishbone Ash. He was the main component. He was like the engine of it, to be quite honest with you. And they got rid of him. He didn't leave. They got rid of him. They wanted the lead vocalist, which they didn't get. They brought in John Wetton on the next album, Number the Brave, which is an absolute rubbish album. But this is the last amazing 10 out of 10 album by Wishbone Ash. Absolutely stunning. And I know they came back in 1987 or whatever, 88, with the original lineup, but that didn't really work out. Really didn't. Late 80s, early 90s. I saw them on the Strange Affair tour and the Illumination tour in the 90s, and they were still brilliant live. Absolutely stunning. But studio-wise, no, this is the last great album by Wishbone Ash. Brilliant, Just Test. If you haven't heard it, go and check it out. The next one then, we're going into March now. 26th of March, Van Halen released their third album. This is from the box set now. I used to have it on LP back in the day. Women and Children First. Now, the first time I heard this album, and Kevin and myself heard it, was off of Paul Bulger, who was after on this channel a couple of times. And we went over to his house. We all lived in the same area. Working class state where we're from. Went over and listened and blew us away. Absolutely blew us away. That's the very first time we heard Van Halen. So we went back obviously and got the first album and the second album. So we went down immediately and bought this when we heard this. Because you have Fools on this. You know, Tora is on this as well. You know, it's absolutely an incredible, Fools especially, the riff on that is amazing. This is an absolute must-have studio album in anybody's collection. Now, next one. On to the 18th of April. And I actually bought this one when it came out on LP. I think I might have bought it on my birthday, because my birthday is the 19th of April, with the few bob I got for the birthday presents. And I bought it on LP. I don't have it on LP anymore. I must get it on LP. It was Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. Ronnie James Dio's first album with Sabbath, because they got rid of Ozzy. Probably around 79. Just couldn't, the drugs were just kicking in and whatever. It just wasn't working out. And they got in Ronnie, who had left Rainbow after Long Live Rock and Roll. And this is an incredible album. Is it as good as Never Say Die? No, I don't think so. Not far away from it though. I think Never Say Die is an amazing and very underrated. But this is brilliant. It kicks off with Neon Nights. Because you have Children of the Sea on this. You know what I mean? Absolutely brilliant. Die Young. I bought the single Die Young as well, actually. Absolutely incredible album. And this was the last album with Bill Ward on it, I think. I'm very certain of that now. I'm not 100% certain. Or did he come back for the one with Ian Gillan? I think he might have come back for the Ian Gillan one. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please. But this is actually brilliant. What an album, Heaven and Hell. Brilliant. So now we're going on to the 23rd of May. And I bought this on LP when it came out. Because I just loved Whitesnake, Ready and Willing. Their best album, their best studio album. You had Ian Pace on this, on drums. You had John Lord. You had Mickey Moody. Bernie Marsden, both on guitar. And you had Neil Murray on bass. And of course, you had himself, David, on the vocals, David Coverdale. Fool for Your Lovin', pure class. Title track, Ready and Willing. Ain't Gonna Cry No More. You know what I mean? You have so many. You have Blind Man, Black and Blue, She's a Woman, Sweet Talker. It's just an absolutely incredible album. Couldn't wait when I got home with this and played it and played it and played it. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, that's Whitesnake's Ready and Willing. Now we're going to move on to the 30th of May. And one of my favourite bands from Germany, Tangerine Dream, released Tangram. There's only 2 tracks on it, Tangram's Set 1 and Set 2. This is absolutely amazing. Ambient, art, rock, synthesizer, whatever you want to call it. Now, I didn't buy this when it came out because I didn't get Tangerine Dream until I heard a soundtrack called, I think it was codenamed The Soldier or something like that, or The Soldier. And I got the film on VHS and I liked the soundtrack to it. I went out and bought Hyperborea. That's the very first studio album I bought by him. Of course, then I went back. I think this was the 3rd album I bought. On LP originally, obviously. And what can I say about Tangram? From the Geniuses. Next one. June the 14th, 1980. Bought this when it came out, so did Kevin. Didn't buy it, obviously it's on CD now. I used to have all these on LP, got rid of them, whatever, you know yourself. Blue Oyster Cult, Cultosaurus Erectus. What an incredible album. Produced by Martin Birch, who had done Heaven and Hell. And he done 2 albums with them, one the following year, Fire of Unknown Origin. Like you have Black Blade on this to kick off, and you have Monsters. I did a video on this actual album. I'll leave a link up here somewhere. I think it's up there somewhere anyway. But that's just a brilliant album. You know, Unknown Tongue, Lips in the Hills. What a heavy, really heavy track. Brilliant track from one of my favourite American bands. If not the favourite. That's Blue Oyster Cult, Cultosaurus Erectus. Absolutely incredible. Now we're moving on to June the 20th, approximately. I'm not 100% sure when this came out. I think it's June the 20th, one website said, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Another German band. Absolutely love these, Eli. I love them. I have most of their albums. Need to get a few more. Now, I didn't hear Eli until I bought an album for his cover. Metromania in 1984 had the Rodney Matthews cover on it. I bought it off chance, saw it in the record shop, loved the cover, didn't know anything about them, didn't even know they were German. Played the album, didn't like it. I must remember 1984 I was only 20. So left them there for years and years and years. Yeah, I mean years and years and years. And then I got back into him again as I got older. And this is an incredible album, colours. You know what I mean? You have child migration on this. You know, absolutely brilliant illuminations. Brilliant album into the 80s for the progressive rock, space rock kind of band, Eli. Brilliant. Frank Borman on guitar. The main man with Eli. So underrated, it's unbelievable. These are better than a lot of the more popular rock bands. Absolutely they are. Right. Last two coming up now. And we're in August. So this is as far as I'm going is August on my 10. Drama. But yes. Notice, again, another singer replaced, like in Black Sabbath. Anderson had left, and Wakeman had left. And they got in the lads from the Buggles. Video Killed the Radio Star. You know what I mean? And they brought out this incredible progressive rock album. This is probably near enough, this or the next one, the best prog albums of the 1980s. Now, there's one or two would probably near enough to it, like King Crimson Discipline. But this one is just amazing, like absolutely amazing. And the cover is brilliant. If you look at the back of it as well, look, Roger Dean cover. I love Machine Messiah on this. A white car, is it? Absolutely brilliant. I love this album. It's the one that where Steve Howe actually puts a bit of distortion on the guitar, plays with a bit of balls to say. Utterly amazing. The last really great top class 10 out of 10 prog album from the Giants of Prague, yes. 90125 wasn't really prog. No, I like it though, but I still want prog. That's prog. And finally, on the 29th of August, Ian Anderson was supposed to bring out a solo album, and obviously he was going to call it A for Anderson. But the record company, Crystal, said no, it has to be a Jethro Tull album, and he completely changed the lineup. Completely. Except for he kept Martin Barr, actually. And John Glasgow had died. The bass player was only 27 or 28. Our condition. Barry Barlow left then because he was so upset because he was great friends with John Glasgow. Got rid of him all. John Avon went as well. But this is an incredible album. A lot of people don't like it. I love this. This is progressive rock. That is amazing. Like Eddie Jobson's on this, even though he wasn't a member of the band. Mark Craney is on it as well. Fucking brilliant. What an album. Some people say that Crest of an Ave and that rubbish album Under Wraps and Rock Island and all those things are better than this. They are me fuck better than this. This is amazing. Utterly amazing. Tull. They had one more amazing album after this, and that was the end of it. And that was the end of Tull. Now, of course, people are saying, where is Back in Black? Well, I didn't get into me 10. I'll mention it here, Back in Black by AC/DC, one of the biggest selling albums of all time. Bon Scott had passed away, and they got in your man Johnson, Newcastle Geordie. Absolutely brilliant album. Could have sneaked in, but no. Those 10 are I prefer than that. But it's a brilliant album, though. I think it's AC/DC's best album. I'm not a huge fan of AC/DC because I think they're a one-trick pony. I think a lot of their music sounds the same. And basically, but still an amazing album. My favourite album by them. Huey 2 by Mike Oldfield. Could have made it in. Duke by Genesis. I mentioned it, but that was never going to make it in. Because after Wind and Wuthering, they went. Like they had 2 albums, and then there were 3 in Duke. Kind of. And then they fell off a fucking cliff. With all poppy. With their ABBA Cabin. Invisible Touch. Auto. Garbage. And I could have put in Sky 2 by Sky. That could have made it. But there's 1 or 2 tracks on that. Not great. Like Takata is on that. It's a brilliant album. Absolutely brilliant. Now, I could have got more of them. They're the only ones I could think of. When I go through the collection, like, and I had to check dates and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. My 1980. I'm going to do all the way up to 1989. I might not have 10 for every year. Hopefully I will. Must have studio albums though. I'm not going to just put up albums that I have and say this is a must have, even though I know it's not a must have. That's one thing I won't do. I'll be totally honest with you all. And thanks very much for all the new subscriptions. Just want to take a cup of tea. The new subscriptions. And all your comments and your likes. And if you do come across this channel and you like it, please hit that like button, subscribe and all that kind of stuff. It does help me out. Of course, if you don't like it, that's absolutely fair enough. Anyway, thanks to everyone anyway, I must say. Anyway, whatever you're doing, stay safe. Very important. And it's also very nice to be nice. Nice to be nice. Always is. And anyway, from me, Pat, here on Close to the Edge, until my next video, which will be 1981. Whatever you're doing, do it right. Okay, bye-bye.